On this episode of Punks Talk Wrestling, we've got the return of Reginald, a 24/7 title change within an Old Spice commercial, and fuck Peacock. This is a rewatch review of WWE Fastlane 2021. I am RW Hellborn, one half of your Punks Talk Wrestling tag team hosts, hailing quote-unquote from Philly. And as always, by my side, 3,500 miles away, he is my tag team podcast partner, the proper prick, CJ Newman!
Did you know, right, that AJ Styles has been a WWE full-time wrestler longer than both The Rock and Stone Cold?
No, I did not. Full-time roster, AJ Styles. Talk about records. Talk about beating...
So Stone Cold's run lasted 2,659 days. And there isn't a number for The Rock. But AJ Styles is now running on 2,655 plus. So
nice.
That's kind of crazy, because you think that Austin and Rock were around for years and years, but in fact, they weren't really. I mean, Austin was around from like 96 to like 2001, as was The Rock, really.
Well, what's that? That's about like what? I mean, 6, 7.
Yeah.
Their main
their main like
just,
full-time wrestler run is like 96 to 2001.
Yeah,
whereas,
it's only 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, AJ Styles has been around since 2016 full-time. And that's 8 years. So
that's awesome.
Just kind of something that you don't really think about, and then you're like, oh, look at that.
Yeah, shout out to AJ Styles.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So.
I love the did you knows. I love your did you knows. I just want to put that out there. Because I never know what you're gonna.
You never know. You never fucking know, and that's
never
why I say did you know? Because likely chances you didn't.
Likely, yeah. I mean, it is very likely whenever you ask me any question of did you know, the answer is probably going to be no.
Yeah. One day I'm going to say something, and you're like, oh yeah, everyone knows that. Oh shit. Okay. Well.
Yeah, you really missed it.
I didn't know that. So. All right.
Did you know you were the only person that didn't?
Yeah.
Apparently not. Now you do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, from there, why don't we just get right into it?
Let's fucking deep dive.
Yeah. Fastlane 2021. How do we start? How do we get into these?
I think we just start talking about them. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think so. All right. Here we go.
All right. This week, I'll do it since you didn't. We're doing a what do we call these now? We had a really good name for them. A rewatch review. Yeah, that's it. I like that.
It's just rewatch review.
Yeah. That. Doing a rewatch review of. So we did a little dice roll a few weeks ago, and we settled on Fastlane 2021.
Yes. As we've been doing for it's only, I guess this is really only the second month, as we've been doing since we started.
Yeah.
Each pay-per-view, premium live event, that WWE's premium live events each month.
Oh, on that quick note, like by statistics, we've lasted longer than the majority of podcasts started in all time, because most don't even get past 5 episodes.
Really?
Yeah.
We need like a celebratory.
Yeah, we need a. You can put that in post. Some kind.
I'll put it in. Yeah, I'll put it in post.
Something can go there.
I'll cut out my and I'll just put it.
Yeah,
in,
I'll let you choose
sound.
whatever sound effect you please.
We'll do some canned cheers.
Yeah, some cheers. Maybe like a little.
We'll just use. We'll use like the replay of whenever they have to use the canned like fan cheers to cover up.
There's that one they always use on SmackDown in the early thousands, which had that same woman.
They just had to do just this week when The Rock came back. There was a part of the segment that the entire thing got cut out because I don't know what the fans were chanting.
Probably holy shit.
I mean, it was probably either holy shit or a fuck you something or fuck you theory. It might have been. I'm not sure, but from my feed that I got, it was completely, one, I don't have live anything. So the Hulu day after cut is probably even more heavily edited
than
even the live cut. Cause it was like blatantly, it was a loop. It was like a 3-second loop of cheer.
Cheer, yeah.
And you could see them talk. You could see them talking in the microphone, and you can't hear anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
So yeah, we are doing Fastlane 2021, which came live from technically Tropicana Field in Florida, but actually from the WWE Thunderdome.
It's the WWE Thunderdome at Tropicana Field.
Yeah, you know what I meant. I like to think the Thunderdome existed in its own little universe, like it was its own. It was like a special little place.
That's actually, you know, what's funny about that? That will be something that we need to address in our future, the rules of the WWE universe
that's a good
episode.
point. That's
because
gonna be fun.
Because you're right, the WWE Thunderdome is its own entity.
That's right.
Within the WWE universe, and there are other rules that apply there are rules that apply specifically to the Thunderdome that don't apply in other areas of WWE. So
Did
that's
you
something
know that
that's
I
gonna
have
be
come
interesting.
very prepared, and I have a couple of facts about the Thunderdome. Not too much, but a few.
I hope so, because I didn't bring any specific facts to the Thunderdome.
The
except for
Thunderdome
the
surprised me because they used the Thunderdome for 11 months.
Yeah.
It's a long time. It ran from August 21st, 2020 to July 15th, 2021. That's how long it was used for. And it was held in 3 different venues over that time as well.
That I knew. I did know.
So it was held at Tropicana Field, the Amway Center, and the Youngling Center.
Yeah, this was the last time that the Thunderdome was at Tropicana Field as well.
No, it wasn't. Not this.
Pretty sure.
You're right. I will shut the fuck up. Oh no, it was the last pay-per-view.
It was the last pay-per-view to be held at Tropicana Field. Yeah, it might. I don't know that it was the last.
Hold on. Hold the phone. Hold that phone right there. Hold your phone. No, you're right. I'll shut the fuck up. No, you are. No, hold on. I'm very confused here. What was the date of this pay-per-view? March 21st?
This was March.
You are wrong.
Let's do what we.
The last pay-per-view was Hell in a Cell, June 20th, 2021.
But that was after WrestleMania. 2021. Oh, wait, but that wasn't held at Tropicana Field.
Oh, it's okay. Sorry, I thought you said Thunderdome.
Again, see, that's the thing. The Thunderdome itself, it's confusing. You need to know the rules of the Thunderdome because it is its own entity. It's like Battle World, and it existed in different locations at different times. Anyway, do you have the Wikipedia page open, or do you want me to read down the stats from the Wikipedia page?
You go for it. Do your thing.
Okay, it was a Raw and SmackDown branded event. Were they even brand split during the pandemic, or is that?
I mean, maybe they were, but
they might have,
really
or this might that might have been that might be a antiquated piece of Wikipedia content because it encompasses both Raw and SmackDown. Well, they were separate.
They were separate.
Raw and SmackDown had separate rosters still. Yeah, so there wasn't different brand specific premium live events, but the brands were specific. So that's why it encompassed both Raw and SmackDown performers on, like I said, on March 21st, 2021. Like you said, in the WWE Thunderdome at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida, with an attendance of 0. Which is just weird to see in all of the stats that they have.
Yeah, it just is 0.
That's the only thing I wanted to get to is the attendance of 0. Which means, interestingly enough, that they obviously were not inflating their numbers and using the attendance of the cameramen and the performers.
That's right.
Or
the people on the screens who they couldn't.
Or the people on the screen. Right.
Yeah.
Were those people on the screen in the Thunderdome attending the event?
Well, I mean, you signed, because the whole deal is you signed up to what is it? You signed in through an email. You got a notification. I never made it in time. No, me neither.
Yeah, several times I tried to get on the Thunderdome and never made it. Just didn't get in time.
Yeah.
Because they would send the email or whatever. They'd send the notification at a random time. It wasn't like be ready at 7:00 to get your confirmation. It was, for at least for me, I would get them at random times, and then by the time I actually got them, it was too late.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and plus living in the UK, it was even harder for me.
Right.
So, I remember So, sorry, my cat is being annoying. So zero attendance, but this is obviously during COVID-19, which is an experience in itself. But we all know what that was.
Wait, what? Yeah, what? Oh, you don't want to take like 4 hours and tangent on to let everyone know about the thing that everyone knows about
the pandemic. Yeah. No, so, how are you? I mean, you turned on this pay-per-view. The intro video starts, and then you see the Thunderdome. What crossed your mind here?
What crossed my mind when I mean, the first time I saw it, or rewatching it?
You know what? Fuck yeah. No, hold on. Yeah, the first time you saw the Thunderdome, what crossed your mind? Because, like, it was a pretty different experience, right? For especially, one, to a normal live crowd, and two, to, like, what we'd been used to up until
I was so impressed with the creativity of how they managed of doing that, I didn't think probably didn't think about it as much then as I did now rewatching it. Right when I rewatched it, this is the first major thing that I've watched that was still a zero attendance event from WWE.
Yeah.
I might have went back and watched when we were doing the Bray Wyatt stuff. I mean, I watched some of the Firefly Funhouse from that WrestleMania, but this was the first full event, that I rewatched since it actually happened, and that it was very interesting to me to now think about not just how it appeared on screen to people watching it at home. You see hundreds of different faces and they're reacting.
That's right.
Not like the events that they had a limited the NXT events had limited attendance, which were the performers' families and people that were also like WWE employees that were already there.
I always found it kind of weird that that when they did the NXT takeover event, or anytime they did NXT, they actually had some people in attendance. But when even with all the LED fans in the background, they still had people. Yet with WWE, they didn't. It's kind of with like the main shows, they didn't.
Yeah, I think if they had tried to do it a little bit of both, it would have diminished the Thunderdome experience itself. Yeah. Whereas when they had the screens for NXT, it was already a smaller area.
Yeah,
it's such a smaller place.
Yeah, that
it wasn't as drastic of a difference.
Right.
Have, and I think it was probably. It might have just been a way of still utilizing the technology that they had and utilizing it to continue to, just continue to have it be a thing where, because NXT's always been a lot of times was closed off. It's always in Florida.
Yeah.
For most of the time, having people able to be at an NXT event for bigger events like that made them seem a little more important at that time too than just now you're just. It's just the same people in the same area in the same place on a different day, on a Saturday instead of a Tuesday. It doesn't feel it helped differentiate it. Whereas the Thunderdome for those premium live events had the enormity of it all was very impressive.
Yeah,
that they were able to just. And they were able to just do it and pull it off.
But it definitely gave more of a WWE style presentation that they've always been used to for years. It gave it.
It made big production. It's big production
because we were in these small shows in the Performance Center for Raw and SmackDown and pay-per-views was such a weird feeling, and like I haven't watched any of those shows since that time period even so when I first put this pay-per-view on and I saw the Thunderdome, it's weird. Like you associate the sight of it through your eyes with a very particular time in life, being the pandemic, being in lockdown, and it was just like a moment of like, whoa, like I remember what the world was like at that point, you know?
Right. It was distinctly different.
Yeah.
And that was and not necessarily, and I don't want to overly criticize another company for the way they did things, but when there was the options of having like limited seatings, and you had to like separate everybody, it just looked like it was it just looked like no one was attending. It looked like, oh, you have to have all these people so far apart that it actually, in my mind, it made it look worse.
You're right.
Like it was more depressing because it was like, it's just not the same at all. Whereas the Thunderdome was distinctly, uniquely, absolutely different. So you didn't have to feel the same way about it.
Yeah, plus the Thunderdome won 3 awards, by the way. It got nominated for 3 awards and won all 3 of them as well.
As it should have. What were those awards?
So I don't know. So we got the Sportel Awards. They won the best virtual fan experience in 2020, which I guess was a big thing back then, because all sports were doing that. So I presume NBA and all those other sports had a similar thing. They had the Synopsis Sports Media Awards, where they won the best tech innovation during the COVID-19 pandemic. That was an award. And then Cable Faxies Award, they won the new product or launch, the best new product or launch.
Oh, okay.
So
I guess because that innovation was part of their marketing to sell.
I don't think you can name me another company on the planet, in fact, that built something purpose-built just because of the pandemic. Everyone else tried to just exist as they were. But
that's exactly.
So, you know, a normal other TV show, like, I don't know, the news or a daily TV show, it would just be a bunch of people, but would all be sitting like 2 meters apart or something. This company went the extra level of building. Not only they built a freaking Thunderdome inside of a stadium, like this weird bubble inside a stadium.
Yeah, and they said it was
crazy fan experience. You know,
it was a biosecure bubble. That is what it was called, which was
with nearly 1,000 LED boards, which is just fucking insane.
Yeah.
Wild.
So there were strict quarantine and safety protocols like for that. That was, which is, you know, why there were certain people were not on and were gone for a while too. Was, you know, it was they were looking at ways to innovate, and again, like you said, created a unique experience, and it was great for the fans. Like those were free. Like it was free to get try to get on there.
Apply to it. Cool thing is as well, like while the WWE was doing shows from the Performance Center, we specify a lot in here that we don't really give a fuck about TV ratings, but the TV ratings did go down substantially during that era. But when they introduced the Thunderdome, I think I saw earlier that their viewership went up by like 700,000 people back up, you know, and then it sustained around that level the whole time after that. I think that's the thing. Like, I think people when they were doing the shows from the Performance Center, I think people then were like, whoa, we've really taken for granted the production level of a WWE show. Like, yeah, we're being entertained by these people and these storylines, but the actual arena and the spectacle of a Titantron and all that, and the lighting, it all adds to it as well. The WWE gives you a spectacle when you go see a show, and like a certain style of TV production that you get accustomed to and you take for granted, and when it was taken away, you're really like, it was missed. So when they brought the Thunderdome in and you could get that level of big time production back that only WWE can offer as a wrestling company, then it was clearly it impressed, and it brought a lot of people back to watching.
Yeah, that was, and the note I mean, one of the notes the main thing that I had the second note that I had was about the Thunderdome and Pyro. The first note that I had was that it was the first premium live event to air exclusively on Peacock in the U.S.
Yeah, I've got
and
that.
Also fuck and also fuck Peacock. The UI, it's terrible. It is still so much worse than the way the WWE network was in the United States, and
we still need to try and see if you can VPN the network.
I really need to VPN. I have no qualms about putting this out on the air that I'm going to absolutely circumvent this in some way, because I hate the Peacock interface, the way that they have WWE in it. And I absolutely despise the amount of commercials that they force you to sit through,
right,
without having to pay an additional fee, which I'm not going to do. I'm not going to pay more money for less a worse experience. So yeah, I'm gonna find ways to just completely circumvent it. Fuck Peacock. But the point was pyro in the Thunderdome and pyro in the crowd.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
That was one of the things that was, like you said, something that's specifically different about it is you're seeing the graphics and the images are flipping out on the screens as people are also flipping on, and there's pyro going on, and you see people's faces, and there's pyro behind them. So like that's a thing.
It was great. There's a lot of moments during this pay-per-view where I'm like, they really, the whole time in that Thunderdome, like they took advantage of all that space that they could use, and it was so much fun. Like we'll get to the Drew and Sheamus match, but there's a lot of things you just couldn't do, you know.
Yeah, and I have probably the most notes about that match. Yes, that they took full advantage of the space that they had.
Yeah.
And they did things that no one thought to do.
Yeah.
And the Thunderdome was a brilliant success, and it shows their adaptability. It shows the company's ability to like be what they are, and that is produce a show that is breathtakingly well done.
Yeah,
you know, they do it. We talk all the time about the production value, and this was a perfect example of it.
Yeah, for sure. But first match of the card was
let's go. Pre-show. Let's never forget the pre-show.
Pre-show,
and this one specifically was I didn't rewatch it. I didn't rewatch it because I couldn't rewatch it on Peacock. They don't have the they don't have the pre-show where the
Peacock hate
normal
continues.
shows. Oh, it's so bad. It's so terrible. But I looked it back online, and it was Mustafa Ali versus Riddle for the United States Championship.
2 people that got fired last week, by the way.
Right, which
accompanied with Mace and Slapjack and T-Bar.
The entire Retribution. Yeah, this was the beginning of the end of Retribution.
Yeah.
Because Mustafa Ali, blamed them for his failing, and did the thing that the heel, that the chicken shit heel who leads the stable does, and he blames his underlings, and they say fuck you, I'm out, and left him laying. Unfortunate definitely to hear about anytime people get released, but that is part of the business. They're both talented. Everybody that was released is talented.
For sure, they'll pave their way somewhere, I'm sure, or if not back to the WWE at some point.
Yeah, as long as they want to continue being a professional wrestler, they will be very they'll be all right.
Yeah.
I say this all the time because there's always the quick reactionary comments to those things, but like there's definitely been times when people have been let go for a time and then brought back in a different capacity.
Yeah.
Or just brought back to a different contract, or just given the time off. And yeah, we've got to let a bunch of people go this year. Every year they do it. It's not like, it's not a surprise that this happens.
It is part of the business.
It's part of the business. Employee turnover. People don't like to think about it, but it's just part of it.
And let's face it, like pretty much all of the people that were released are people they were not using, and ultimately, if you're not using someone, you're paying them to be at home.
Yeah, you can, and whether you believe they were misusing them or if you believe that they were, whatever, that's fine. But the point was they weren't being used. They weren't being used in a major way, and so let them go do something else.
Right, exactly.
Give them the freedom to go instead of dragging them, because those guys still go to the events. They're still traveling, even if they're not on TV. They're still in the back. Yeah. Because they might need somebody for a thing. They might need, they're the guys that are doing the run-ins when they need the locker room clears out. So if you're not in a major angle, you still want to be there. Even if you're not having matches on, I don't know, the Velocity or what are the dark matches that they still film. I think it's main event.
Main event, yeah.
They still do main event. So some of those guys, there's a lot of people that I hear online talk about where's this guy? Where's that guy? I'm like, dude, he has a match every week on main event. Are you not watching main event? Oh, well, maybe you should watch it more. Because all those guys that you're complaining about not seeing are there doing stuff.
Yeah, it may not be on Raw and SmackDown, but they're there somewhere.
Shout out to main event. Go watch main event.
Yeah. Here you go. I found it for you. So this week we had Nikki Cross versus Xia Li, and we had Indy Hartwell versus Kaden Carter.
All right.
So there you go.
There you go.
Go
watch it.
A few weeks ago, we had Bronson Reed versus Riddick Moss, and then the Viking Raiders versus Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander.
Yeah. All these guys are having killer matches on main event. So shout out to main event.
Speaking of the not main event, speaking of the first match of the night, we had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler as the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions with Reginald. Let's not forget.
Reginald is back. That's
versus Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. Before we get into the match, I will say, I feel like the Thunderdome era popularized the gorilla position backstage segment before matches. I don't feel like they did them before the pandemic.
There were an increased number of that,
and maybe now they do them all the time.
Yeah, maybe it was due to them trying out new things and seeing what works. But I mean, there have been gorilla position shots.
Oh, they've been shot, but like that kind of like that promo you do right before you go out the curtain. I feel that kind of situation.
Yeah, and they definitely use it now to really good effects, especially like KO has done it a few times.
Oh yeah.
Where they're doing the the completely smooth live transition from the backstage interview into the
straight
entrance
into an
theme.
entrance. Yeah. I
love
that
the
stuff.
Timing and the production. Yeah, they practiced it and they've mastered it now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I had Reginald is back in all caps. That was the biggest pop. I was so happy about that. Even though my main notes about this were good match, but it was more about the story. It was the story of Sasha Banks.
Yeah,
Sasha
that's what we're
Bianca
going
at Mania.
for here. Yeah.
I do want to give props to them though for coming out in matching ring gear for a tag match.
Yeah, fair play.
Being not a tag team and being opponents. The fact that they actually at least the color scheme, it wasn't like
not matching, but like they look like a tag team because
they looked like a tag team because their gear was the same colors, kind of like
Street Profits. They don't have matching gear, but
it's not exactly matching, but it's the same.
Yeah,
it's the same enough. The same enough. I mean, they were more. They had better. They matched better. They looked more like a tag team because their gear was matching colors than Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax.
They never looked like a tag team.
Who were they never looked like a tag team champion.
Yeah. But they were like more of an odd couple tag team back then.
Yeah, most of the women's tag teams were odd couple tag teams. Which is tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
But that's not what this is about.
Yeah, super simple match. I mean, roll-up win and Sasha losing her shit with Bianca at the end there. One note I do have, because it was announced during this pay-per-view was 3 weeks before WrestleMania, which I thought was wild, by the way.
Yeah.
Like,
yes, it was.
holding a pay-per-view 3 weeks before WrestleMania. But I guess at this time, you didn't have to worry about people having to buy tickets, affording Fastlane but not being able to afford WrestleMania because...
And they've done this before.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they've done this before with some of the lesser... This was a lesser premium live event.
Yeah.
It always has been. When you're 3 weeks away from WrestleMania, it gets a little dicey to get people to come out to it.
Yeah.
It's also why typically it's a smaller arena event where you don't have to.
There's also a period of time, like they did. They did 2 pay-per-views between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, whereas now they only do 1, which is what they used to do. Then they moved to doing 2. And now they just do 1, which is good.
Well, they also leave it because now they're also leaving a little more breathing room for NXT, for the NXT event.
Yeah.
Because they also used to have the major NXT takeovers the same weekend as the major, like we went to when we went to NXT Takeover Brooklyn and then SummerSlam
the next
immediately
night,
after.
Yeah.
Now they're having them. Now at least they're staggering them.
Yeah, exactly.
So that they're not trying to oversell the same weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Also because they're having a lot of these premium live events on Saturday nights instead of WrestleMania is the only one that's 2 nights, so it's the only one on Sundays. All these other ones they're doing Saturday night now because they also realize the change, especially post pandemic, the likelihood of getting people out late on a Sunday night is less likely, especially when you're shifting your shifting your demographic. That was good. Shifting your demographic back to a little more like.
It's always dumbfounded me for years as to why I know it's classically that pay-per-view Sunday, that's always been a thing, but why you just wouldn't do it on a Saturday, because for the most part, people don't have work on Sunday.
I never understood that, other than maybe because it was filled up with other sporting events that were. Maybe there were less other sporting events on Sunday nights that people were.
Maybe I think it's I think it was just
sure.
a historic decision made that it was just tradition, and then suddenly one day someone just went, "Why are we doing that?"
Yeah, why are we doing this on Sundays? We could do this on Saturdays, and more people would show up.
Yeah, no brainer.
Yeah, no brainer.
But yeah,
But that also means the NXT events have to be a different weekend.
Yeah, exactly. But we got retention from Jax and Baszler with the roller. Good stuff. My next note is
Nia Jax didn't injure anyone.
No, so miraculously. Shane calling Braun Strowman stupid was a weird storyline.
Yeah. Oh shit!
Because there was a little backstage segment here. Well, there's not the match, but the little segment in backstage of him, Shane with Elias and fuck was that guy's name? Riker, Jackson Riker. Yeah.
I don't even have any notes on that whole thing because I glossed.
I didn't even. I glossed over it. I just saw it, and because I think he had a T-shirt on that said "Stupid Express."
Yeah, but no, I don't even have notes on that match.
Oh, really?
Because
that match isn't just yet. We'll get to that.
That match
later.
Isn't even next. There was a segment.
But there was a segment.
Yeah, good on you for having the segment breakdown. Because I forgot to make my segment notes.
Next match is Big E versus Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental Championship.
This
a lot to take home from this.
Oh, this was wonderful. Talk about now. I don't know what people say about Apollo's heel turn and gimmick change. I loved it.
I thought it was great.
I loved the amount of effort he went all in on it.
Yeah.
And it made them both have to change themselves.
Yeah.
For that, like it was nasty, and Big E, I see Big E was. That was old school single solo Big E from, that was 5 count. That was like the evolution of the 5 count Big E from NXT.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was a point where I thought they were going to bring that back, and I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they left. I'm glad he didn't like go back to the 5 count gimmick.
Yeah, he'd evolved from that. So I think
and he wasn't because he wasn't a cocky. It wasn't cocky.
Yeah, if he had turned heel, maybe that would have been a good idea. But yeah.
Yeah, but man, when he like the smack talking between him and Apollo especially in the lead up. Like this is a story. This is a match that you need to go back and watch the lead up and watch the previous matches, because this was like Apollo's 3rd try at.
I think this definitely wasn't their best match because it was super short as well. But it was, you know what? For the 5 minutes and 45 seconds they had, it was all right.
Something happened, and my biggest note was that wasn't really happy with that. That finish was just, I don't know what happened with that.
Oh,
finish.
that was a mess.
The finish was a complete mess.
I don't know what happened there. Yeah.
I don't know how it all. I mean, it fell apart worse than our podcasts consistently fall apart.
And that's saying something.
And that is saying something. But everything, like you said, the 5 minutes. What was the actual time of that?
5 minutes and 45 seconds.
5 minutes and 45 seconds. It was 5 minutes and 45 seconds of just powerhouse and smack talking.
Yeah.
You know,
just as Biggie always,
preacher Biggie. Yeah,
he would always say, like, "Man meat slapping man meat." That's what Biggie always used to say.
But he was like taunting Apollo with telling, you know, you made me get all biblical on you. And he was like, you know, really heavily into like the preacher.
The kind of Biggie preacher stuff he used to do in the New Day.
It was a lot of fun, and I could have watched that for 20 minutes.
Yeah. I
wish there was.
Obviously, this led on to their Nigerian drum fight at WrestleMania.
Yes, and we'll talk about that some other time.
But yeah, it was like the ending of the match. It was a weird, like, because I don't know what happened there. I don't know if the match was meant to end there. But even if you notice, the ring announcer didn't even say anything, because
even the ring announcers were like, I don't know what happened.
And even
there.
like the production truck, they played Biggie's music for a second, and then they were like. Maybe
they weren't sure what happened. Yeah, then he just kept beating him down, and maybe they were trying to make it look, maybe they were trying to feed in a little bit of that, like, let's make it look sloppy to make it look not real. Almost like, is it a bot? There's sometimes those questionable botches of like, that's really not a botch. That's he didn't get all of it, or the put a spin of realism on it. It's not so picture perfect.
Yeah.
It just sort of devolved into a fight.
Yeah.
Which kind of led into, like you said, the Nigerian drum match later on. But great story and worth going back to see that era, and just makes you really miss.
Here's a question for you. Do you reckon that if this a gimmick with Apollo Crews was in front of a live crowd, that it would have been? What do you reckon the live crowd reaction? Would you reckon it would have been fell on deaf ears, or would it have gone over?
No, I think it would have. I think he would have been able to feed off of a live crowd better, and I think it would have gone. I think that would have gone over so much better.
Yeah, I think it probably would have lasted longer if it was in front of a live crowd.
And I think it would have been, and I think they would have gotten them on multiple levels, like just being a dastardly heel in one way, and seeing that different side. Like, he's a perfect candidate for what we're going for later on when we pick our next podcast. Topic. He's like, that was such a drastic change of his character.
Yeah,
that it's so interesting to me.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't help but be intrigued by it, more so because it's different. I'm seeing them in a different light completely.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, next up after that, we had an Old Spice advert. Yes, we did.
And we
my God, we had 24/7 title change.
Yeah, we had Rick Boogs before Boogs was Boogs.
Another release.
Yeah, another one right there. I can't remember what his name was because I didn't actually make a note of it. But
Rick Bugenheim.
well, no, that wasn't even his name here. It was like just like a fucking name. I can't remember.
Oh, he wasn't. Oh, yeah, I don't even remember.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, we had a whole R-Truth behind a rack of Old Spice, and Akira Tozawa was there looking for truth.
The best work. So much
just
fun.
Good stuff. And I missed the fuck out of R-Truth so bad. I just wanted to come back.
And I missed the 24/7 title, and I think we should do an episode devoted entirely to that. Although it can't. Well, actually, we can never do an episode devoted entirely to anything, because every single episode from here on out has to be devoted to former and future WWE champion Jinder Mahal.
Oh yeah, of course.
The Vision Board for potential first WWE superstar.
That's right.
Yeah.
Even if by that point he's not
to
in
be
the
a guest host.
Even if at that point he is somehow released, and I hope that never happens. But even if that point he is, I'll still take
Jinder
it.
Mahal, I will stop watching WWE when the day Jinder Mahal is released from WWE.
I don't believe you.
I will start watching it again immediately when the next programming airs, but like I will stop watching it that day.
Yeah, that day. You didn't
At least
specify
that
how
day.
long. You didn't specify.
I'll stop watching it the day. Yeah, the day that if he ever gets released, I will not watch WWE that day. I can guarantee that's at least the bare minimum that I can guarantee.
Yeah.
Anything more than that. But yeah, so 24/7 title episode of Punk's Talk Wrestling coming in the future.
Yeah, I dig that.
For sure.
Now.
But the match.
Now we have Braun Strowman versus Elias in a 3 minutes and 50 seconds match. The shortest match of the night. I mean, there isn't really much to say here. I mean, yeah.
This was one of the few times where I truly believe that should have just been cut.
I will say it's quite ironic that Shane's fake injury he had in training was almost identical to his actual injury he got at WrestleMania this past year.
That is kind of funny in a way, and goes to show that McMahon's always get their upcoming some way or another.
Yeah, one way or another. Yeah.
But yeah, that was just. I'm very rarely critical, and usually the most critical I am of WWE content, unfortunately, usually involves a McMahon.
You know what? It tends to just generally involve Shane and Vince in more recent times. Because Stephanie's general involvement for me has always been great. I think she's very self-aware, and that's good. Any involvement of the McMahons in the late 90s, early 2000s was great because a lot of the storylines evolved around them, and it was good stuff. But anything with Vince and Shane as of the last 10 to 15 years has always been a bit shaky for me. It's not.
Yeah, well, we talked about. We mentioned that. I think we mentioned it on a previous pod. What was that episode? Was it on Raw it was the pay-per-view where Vince came out to like...
Oh, the GM announcement. That was our
GM announcement.
It was our payback rewatch of 2016.
That was the payback rewatch, yeah. And they came out and it just fell flat. And this kind of felt the same way. It just... I didn't see the point in it. It didn't really get... Yeah. It actually didn't really get anybody over.
No.
Like, it didn't do anything for anyone.
No.
And so it wasn't a good story, and it shouldn't have been on there.
The storyline was crap. I didn't like Strowman. I love Braun Strowman, as you know, but I did not like the Strowman Express gimmick. I just thought it was lame.
Yeah, and the Shane being this weird bully that's just calling him stupid.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that it was such a childish angle.
Yeah,
I didn't understand who they even thought this was going to appeal to. It certainly was not us. Certainly was not me.
Yeah, I think it was a case of Braun, is like, it's kind of like I think there was one redeeming moment from this. I remember Braun doing a promo on SmackDown or Raw once, saying like, "I might be big and everything, but I got bullied when I was a kid," kind of thing. And that's nice. I like that because
that's right. This was all part of the anti-bullying message thing.
Yeah, and I dig that. I can dig that.
See, and that's one of those things you kind of don't remember all of it going back. I just, because that wasn't even part of the promo package. It wasn't like his,
right,
or at least I didn't see it. It was just the Shane being a dick about things, and then it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I just didn't think it was executed very well. That was all, and it just kind of sucked. But anyway, Braun wins, as you'd probably expect. Jackson Riker was there.
He was there. They never knew what to do with.
No,
I
don't think Jackson Riker knew what to do with himself.
Yeah.
So there's that.
There's that.
Moving on.
Next up, though,
we got freaking, and it's kind of crazy because full circle, we've got Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship happening in a few weeks' time. But 2 years ago, it actually happened at Fastlane.
At Fastlane, right? That's what's crazy is we're getting Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura again.
Yeah, but it's crazy.
Fastlane.
Just 2 years later, both of them in very two different parts of their career and two different gimmicks.
Yeah.
Now, what I liked about this match, first off, was
that it was Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
That was to begin with, but this was Seth. Like you saw in the promo package, he was wearing his crazy weird suits at the time, right? But this is the transition period between Monday Night Messiah Seth and like Drip God
and
Seth.
the Drip God. This is early, yeah.
It's like this weird transition period where you can really start to see Seth find this gimmick that he has now, where he's like kind of wacky. And it's funny because it's weird seeing Seth without his modern gimmick. Like we always related him to the Shield. And everything after the Shield with the Authority and the Monday Night Messiah, and it was all good stuff, but it's like I've really found like what he does now, he's come into his own. Like he's really found his thing now, and like this is what I now think of. This gimmick is what I think of now when I think of Seth.
Yes, this is his current evolution is the most memorable, and now that he's also got a world championship with it.
Yeah.
To further strengthen this.
Exactly.
He wasn't champion when he was Monday Night Messiah.
Nope.
He wasn't champion when he was the Drip God.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. No, not as the Drip God. Like I don't know what this is now, what you would call this, but it you know what it is? It's like you don't need to call him anything now because he's just Seth.
No,
Rollins.
it's Seth. It's Seth freaking. It's
Rollins,
the Seth freaking Rollins kind of thing, which is what the fuck does that mean? Well, it's whatever I say it means because whatever this is it's whatever I make it.
Overall, the match, though, I mean, it's everything you'd expect from Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Sorry. I clicked on his Wikipedia page to just look up if they have it. It's listed under the Visionary time period, 2021 to 2023.
I dig that.
There's the Messiah. So he does
call himself the Visionary a lot all the time. So,
yeah. The Messiah was 2019 to 2020.
Right. That makes
sense. This might be. He's another contender.
He's definitely a candidate.
Definitely a candidate of all this stuff that we keep saying we'll get to later, which we will. An excellent match. The main first thing I wanted to mention was I had to go back and watch this several times, and my brain still doesn't register it.
Right.
They introduced Samoa Joe on commentary, and he didn't say anything at all during this match.
Really? It's not something I registered.
Yeah, I did exactly, and I had to go back and watch it again, and I'm like, I don't think he said anything. I have to, and I still feel like I have to watch it another time. So I'm going to, because it's one of those things.
Okay, I'm going to have to do that now.
I feel like it's playing tricks on my own mind. Like, yeah.
I feel like he did. No, he did. He did. I remember. I don't know. I can't tell you anything he said, but that's what I mean. I have the note that says Samoa fucking Joe on commentary because that's the first time
Saw that, and then right at the end, I said, "Did Samoa Joe say anything during this match?"
You know what? I remember him saying stuff during the Drew and Sheamus match, but I don't.
I distinctly heard him during Sheamus and McIntyre. That's what clued me in, was when I started hearing him during the Sheamus McIntyre match, and I had to go back. Anyway, it was a phenomenal match. 12 minutes and 55 seconds by the Wikipedia time.
Yeah. I mean, it's everything you'd want to expect from a match between these guys.
And I had to look it up because I'd never even seen what it was. That move, that kick that he did at the end. I mean, the whole match is amazing. Like we don't have to go play by play, but it was the innovation that they had in that match, and that last kick that he did, where Nakamura's knee was on the ground, and he like jumped over him. He hooked his foot on Nakamura's like knee.
Oh right, yeah.
And then like kicked him, and then like stopped his entire momentum and kicked him in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's called a black magic kick.
Oh right.
Corey Graves and everybody, the announcers were like, didn't know what to call it, didn't have any idea. They're like, what the hell was that? So go back and watch that. We'll put I actually took a clip of it, so which I'll send. So we'll post that clip. We can easily steal a 3-second clip of something without getting in trouble. Point being that I think the point was I had never seen that move.
No, I don't think I'd ever. Yeah, I don't recall it at least. Yeah.
Yeah, and if anybody knows anyone else that has used that move,
and likely it could have been something that he used before he came to the WWE as well. So. Yeah,
I'd like to. If anybody knows anything about that black magic kick, or anyone else that has used it, definitely let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Because.
Next comes a match which I very distinctly remember of the Thunderdome era, because it was one of my favorite matches of the Thunderdome era. So when we picked this pay-per-view out to watch, I was super excited to watch it because I loved Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus in No Holds Barred match.
Before we get to the match though.
Oh.
Right before that, we got the promo package for Rhea Ripley's Raw.
Oh shoot!
Debut
Yeah,
the next night.
Put that in my notes. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So think about that. That's 2 years. So this was March 21st, 2021.
Yeah. So about two and a half years.
Yeah. Well, 2.5 years. Rhea Ripley debuted on Raw.
Yeah.
And look at her now.
Crazy.
Running the Judgment Day.
Crazy. I love it.
As the women's world champion. Outstanding. Anyway, yeah.
And she's super young as well, by the way.
Yeah.
So much of her career left ahead of her, and it's insane to see how far she's won every single championship there is for a woman to win in the WWE. So
right, because she's also been she's been women's tag team.
Yeah, women's tag team champion. She's been both Raw and SmackDown women's champion. She was NXT champion and the NXT UK women's champion.
And the NXT UK champion.
The first.
Right,
so.
Right. Yeah. Which we've both been following Rhea Ripley since the very beginning. Yeah. Like right. I remember seeing her. I
remember seeing her in the Mae Young Classic when she was in the tournament. So.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, what you got there? Oh. What flavor's that?
Oh, it's a raspberry lime.
Lime.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, next up, Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus in a No Holds Barred match. I fucking love this match. Two dudes knowing each other for 20 years, beating the fucking piss out of each other. What else do you need? What else do you need?
The main note that I said is Sheamus and Drew beat the shit out of each other the only way real friends can.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you see that you distinctly can notice when you look at the way they work with each other and the way they trust each other and know each other. They were really pushing each other.
Yeah. There were moments in these matches where I could tell like one or the other was hurting bad. There was the I can't remember the name of the damn move, but where you put them on the shoulders and you do like a front flip.
Yeah, that's not Sheamus's. That's not his white noise.
No, but like whatever
his...
he does that onto Drew up in the stands or whatever you want to call it, up in the Thunderdome.
In the Thunderdome.
And on like the hard floor, and like Drew is clearly like winded. He's like he's making guttural sounds.
Yeah.
But again with the Thunderdome, like and you saw this as well in the Roman Reigns Kevin Owens match, the last man standing match they had. They used the entire space to their advantage. They did things that you can't do when you're in a crowd. You don't have to worry about health and safety because
like throwing them through the piece of the Thunderdome.
Yeah, so great,
like
man.
Killing. Yeah. Also for the viewers, the ones that are watching and are on the Thunderdome feed, like I assume they're also watching it live.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
yeah.
So those fans are getting a unique experience that no one gets because they're also. You never see yourself like unless you see yourself being panned on the camera that they put in the arena, and then you wave. Like you can know when you're on when the camera is on you, but to actually see yourself on camera live,
it's great
while you're watching must have been very exciting for those fans as well.
Yeah, for
totally
sure.
Totally different feeling. And how weird must it have been for them wrestling with like giant faces right next to their face, like just the weird discrepancy of like I'm not in a group of fans that are the same, that are all smaller than me. This dude's head is like 5 feet and like right in front of my face. Like that's just weird.
I love it.
It's weird.
I mean, I remember this match because I followed Sheamus on Instagram, and I remember the day after this match him posting a photo of I believe both him and Drew, and they are just covered in welts and marks and scars and bumps and bruises.
Oh, no
absolutely
doubt.
Beat the crap out of each other with chairs and kendo sticks and just everything, and it was great. It was such a good match. Just anytime you get, Sheamus. Not only that, Sheamus is in like really good shape here. By the way, like I really distinctly noticed that yesterday when I watched this. I was like, he's in really good shape. But yeah, like as you say, like when you got two guys like this who are, especially two burly guys like Drew and Sheamus, who are like really like. They lay their stuff in regardless of who you are, but when it's your friend and you can get away with it, they really fucking did.
Exactly. There's you can hit your friends a little bit harder than you.
Yeah, because you can get away with
it. that you don't like. Yeah, exactly. That's what it means about the kicking the shit out of each other the way friends can, because you kind of you trust each other a little bit more, and you know you can push each other a little bit past that boundaries.
But with Sheamus and Drew, you get them in matches with the right guys, like people like Gunther or someone like Cesaro or something. Like, you're in for a treat, man, because these are the kind of guys that just lay in their stuff and
they go hard.
Go hard.
Yeah,
it's going to be great.
And it's hard hitting without being just being abusively, like, it's not just gratuitous violence.
No, of course.
It is, I put a little extra oomph on that one. The white noise from the barricade on through the table. Yeah. They go a little, they just do a little, they made every move hurt a little more. Yeah. With that. And it was great to watch.
Yeah. Good fun. Drew gets the win. He goes on to face Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania, where he ultimately loses, which I think a lot of people didn't expect, but that happened. But yeah, great match. And then we go on to
19 minutes and 40 seconds.
The second longest match of the night.
Yeah.
Then we go on to something completely different
that I completely forgot even happened. Yeah, when we picked this out, and then we did a quick look at the card, I was like, I had absolutely zero memory of this thing happening.
So yeah, we had Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton.
Alexa Bliss defeating Randy Orton.
Yeah,
via pinfall in an intergender match, and you might be thinking the same thing that I was thinking when I saw it. Like, what the fuck are you even talking about?
Well, I forgot about this match, and then when we picked this pay-per-view out and I saw it on the card, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this.
Because it didn't. Well, and it's weird because it didn't even come up in the Bray Wyatt episode and it was such an odd. This led into his first departure after WrestleMania. The 3 weeks later, but that storyline where with Alexa Bliss, I think a lot of people were just kind of trying to forget that Alexa Bliss was involved in the weird offshoot, kind of possessed by the Fiend angle that didn't quite work.
Well, here's the deal. I freaking love this shit. I enjoyed it so much. I
did love it.
I think Alexa played the role so fucking well. I think to have her carry it on after Bray left was probably a mistake, but her involvement in it while it was happening, I won't lie to you.
That's what I mean. The involvement while it was happening.
Right.
Was great.
I know and I hear all the hate that this storyline got, but I won't lie to you. During the pandemic, this was one of the storylines I was tuning into Raw to mainly see because they had this space in the Thunderdome again where you could get away with editing. You wasn't live, so you could just edit anything you wanted, and they do it in this match. They do it with the Randy coughing up the black stuff before the match starts, or you've got the light fixture falling from the rafters, or the fireballs and stuff like that. It's like that all obviously was all done in like different bits, and they obviously edited all that match together, but you can't do that in a live setting. And that was such a treat. You're getting all this stuff in this match that you wouldn't get normally. It was a storyline that really pushed the boat out, and I love that because I always like seeing new shit in wrestling, whether it works or not, whether it's memorable or not. I like you're trying something new, and that's exactly what this match was. Like those lights falling from the rafters. That's such an unexpected. I didn't expect that when I watched it. I was like, you don't expect to see that happening.
No, absolutely. You have no idea what's going to happen.
And it's also a thing you can't do with a live crowd because of health and safety.
It was 4 minutes and 45 seconds. There wasn't a lot going on. It was Alexa Bliss taunting
longer than
Randy
Braun
Orton.
Strowman versus Elias, though.
Yeah, it was longer. Yeah, it was longer than. But there was more things happened in those 4 minutes and 45 seconds that actually meant something.
Yeah.
And it actually progressed a storyline, and bringing the Fiend back with that new burnt gimmick,
Fiend,
the burnt Fiend. That was great. Again, a great way of lengthening a storyline and giving everybody something that they were unprepared for.
Yeah, no one expected the burnt Fiend. Crispy Fiend.
Not at all. Not at all.
Deep fried
But
Fiend.
It completely made me. I had to go back and watch like part of that. The lead up to that too was remembering. Oh, that's why this whole thing happened, was because Randy Orton set the Fiend on fire, and then
so good.
Alexa Bliss just went crazy.
Yeah, when she like doused like herself in gasoline, or petrol, to set herself on fire. I remember watching that stuff during the pandemic. I loved it. I remember watching Raw and seeing her douse herself in petrol, and just what was going on? Like, this is insane. I remember watching Randy Orton set fire to a fucking human being. Like, come on, man, so good. Stuff you can't do in a live setting. Stuff that you can't replace the Fiend with a dummy in a live setting. You need editing, and you could use editing in the Thunderdome, and that's so good.
I'm glad that they took the risk in taking those risks.
Yeah, exactly.
For those stories.
Two things. One, when the light fell and Randy Orton said, "Are you trying to kill me?" Alexa Bliss just shrugs and goes, "So close," and then laughs. And also, I wouldn't mind having. Hear me out. Like, I know he said that having this version of Alexa Bliss after Bray left was a bit maybe not the best decision. But I think now, obviously with Bray passing away, I wouldn't mind seeing Alexa return with this gimmick. Or, better yet, I don't know, it's controversial, but if you had a female version of The Fiend with Alexa Bliss as like as a female kids TV host with the Firefly Funhouse or something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, but it's something to definitely think about, and I think it's like there's a lot more to revisit with that gimmick for sure.
Well, she hasn't been on TV since
she's pregnant.
Bray's. Oh, really?
Yep. She has.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a thing.
What? That's a thing. I didn't know that.
She won't be around for a while yet, but when hopefully if she does come back, then yeah, that's something to.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know that at all. Personal life. In March, she also revealed she had skin cancer. Caused by tanning.
What? Didn't know that part.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
In March in 2023, she revealed that she had skin cancer caused by the use of tanning equipment. And in May was when she revealed she was expecting her first baby. Due December 2023. All right. Well,
pretty soon.
Yeah, not interesting. Well, there you go. I didn't realize that at all. Congratulations to Alexa Bliss.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
On being an expected mother. That's awesome.
But yeah, great match. Loved it. I love the storyline. It's got a little soft spot in my heart. I fucking loved this this storyline during the pandemic. It was one of those, like, the world is crazy, but so is this storyline. This storyline's crazier than the world right now.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I'm into this.
I need something. I need insanity.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we got with that story. So. Now moving on to the main event, which was Roman Reigns, Universal Champion. Not been champion very long at this point, and now he's been the champion for 3 years.
Yes. There's a little bit of extra I want to talk about this too.
Okay.
So after the match, but
Roman Reigns as champion with Paul Heyman defeated Daniel Bryan for the Universal Championship. Edge.
So many things happened.
Yeah, a lot happened in this match. Edge is a special guest enforcer. I kind of forgotten about this match, but upon rewatching it, I was like, yeah, I remember this. I remember the end of the match. And I remember Edge losing his shit and thinking it was really cool at the time.
Yeah, I think a lot of this, because of, just like you said, because of it being so close to WrestleMania that year, and WrestleMania overshadowing it so much. This lead up kind of got a little. I had forgotten how they even got to the triple threat match.
Yeah.
At Mania, and this is how they got to it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It was, the story, the Daniel Bryan story always tells a great story. He's it's the underdog story again.
Yeah, he's always the underdog. He is
always the underdog because he's smaller than all of the other bigger guys.
Yeah.
Great, again, it's a great story. He played it perfectly.
Yeah.
Several times throughout the 30 minutes of this match, you thought maybe it was going to go one way, you thought maybe it was going to go the other. But once Edge got involved in the match was when it really took, things really heated up quick.
Yeah.
This was also talking about transitional eras again, because WrestleMania time is also a good time to transition a character into a new role of sorts.
Yeah.
Like this was the end of the first phase. This is pre-tribal chief, pre-head of the table. This was, and I think this was just on the cusp of the wreck everyone and leave. The first, Roman Reigns had come back and has the Universal Championship, but he wasn't necessarily a full-fledged heel. Well, he was with Paul Heyman, so it was sort of the heel turn, but he was...
Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean. He wasn't like a full... But I think with Jay's involvement, that kind of... Well, no, he was definitely a heel, because Remember the stuff like this, the storyline he had with Jey Uso, where he was treating Jey like a fucking piece of shit.
That's true. This was once he. Yeah, I might be misremembering some of this, but he hadn't been really solidified.
Yeah,
until after Daniel Bryan. Like this was he once he ended Daniel Bryan's career.
Yeah.
In WWE and the stacking Daniel Bryan and Edge, pinning them both at WrestleMania was like, this was the solidification of the Roman dominating.
Yeah. Well, I think it's him stacking the two of them. Yeah, that was definitely the start of that.
But this was the beginning of that, like this overwhelming dominance, and with Jey Uso's involvement, the precursor to the Bloodline.
It was the precursor to the Bloodline. So I was just looking that the first time that the Tribal Chief stuff was ever like mentioned was in the Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns I Quit Hell in a Cell match, because in that match, if Jey lost, he had to address Roman as the Tribal Chief. So that's where that term came from, and that's obviously.
And when did that? And that was
2020. That was about nearly a year before. Well, about 6 months before.
Oh, okay.
This
So
event.
that established the moniker, like
of Tribal Chief.
Again,
yeah.
Look at how far in advance they were working that storyline.
I know.
They dropped his name. They dropped the title.
But that's
of Tribal
the thing.
Chief.
When I saw
it's not a thing.
No.
They just made it up, and they're like, let's run with this.
When I saw Jey Uso come out in this match, I was like, shit, man. Like, this is I'm watching a storyline begin.
Yeah.
Like 3 years before where we're at now, basically. And it's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean that Universal Championship was this also solidified his championship reign as well. Like at this point it's like, oh, he's been champion, he's been champion for a little while now. And no one's taking it away.
No, not at all.
It started the thought of like, how long is this title reign gonna be? At least in my mind, that this was.
I think that. Yeah, I mean it's like it's a long, I mean I don't know how long his reign had been at this point, but I mean we're talking maybe like 7 months or so. We'd seen people held championships a lot longer than that, like CM Punk and Brock Lesnar and John Cena. They've all made it to a year with the title.
Yeah,
but I think something did still something felt distinctly different for sure with this reign quite early on. And I don't know, I think it's once he beat Brock Lesnar the year after this at WrestleMania, when he got the WWE Championship, that I was like, okay, they're doing something here now. And now we're 2 WrestleManias after that event, and nearly, and there's something very different about this reign now.
his reign he beat the Fiend, right? August 30th, 2020.
Yeah.
It was. He beat Fiend. So this was almost he was starting to close in. They were starting to look at the year at like almost a year at this point. Getting close. He hadn't even gotten to a year yet.
Yeah.
So all the talks of lengthy title reigns haven't even started yet at this point.
Yeah.
But his dominance was becoming apparent.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
An exceptional match. Once Edge got involved with the ref bump, and then all hell broke loose.
Yeah. I love crazy endings to matches. Like a lot of Roman Reigns matches have these, but they're always slightly different, and they're always really fun to me. Yeah,
and that the involved because Edge is involved, because Edge is also so good at what he does, and since he was involved in the main event no matter what, from winning the Royal Rumble, it was exciting to also see Edge in this pre-heel turn, creating the original Judgment Day, and like this pre going away and coming back again.
I guess in a way, you think about it, this match in a way was the precursor to the start of the Bloodline, and in a way a precursor to the start of the Judgment Day.
Yeah,
You know, like and two of the most dominant factions in the last 2 to 3 years with the WWE. And just to see how far the Judgment Days come, Jesus Christ! I mean, wild. They are now the most dominant faction in the company now that the Bloodline's gone. So it's crazy. It's crazy to see how far that faction's come.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's what else do you want to say about the match?
What else you want to say about this match? Fucking Roman Reigns tapped out.
Yeah, let's talk. So let's talk about the fact that Daniel Bryan is the only person that has made Roman Reigns tap out.
Yeah, in fact.
Now, of course, there was no referee there to see it.
Yeah,
and the match did not end via that tap out. But clear as day, Daniel Bryan made Roman Reigns submit.
I gotta say that was executed so fucking well though, because
extremely
the tap out was so feeble. It was like, I don't want to tap, but I got to.
I can't. Yeah, and it was. This is one of those. If you were just looking at who won and lost, someone's gonna say, "Oh yeah, they're burying Daniel Bryan by having Roman Reigns beat him again." Like, no, Daniel Bryan has a legitimate thing that he can call back to, and I know this is one of the very few things. I'll bring it up because it's one of the very few things I look into because we normally don't talk about people's contracts in other companies but there's a fantasy booking aspect that we have talked about potential doing a fantasy booking episodes for things, and this falls very much into this because this is a hanging thread that they never really got addressed. I don't think it really was addressed properly in the, and maybe it was in the aftermath of WrestleMania or the championship for his career match. I don't necessarily know if they brought it up that he made him tap out significantly, but they can always go back to that.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
I checked my sources, and I looked at the dates. For Roman Reigns to surpass Hulk Hogan's title reign,
right,
of 1400. Let me hold on. Let me look at. I have the number. I had it. It's 1400 and whatever it is. The date that Roman Reigns for him to beat Hulk Hogan's title reign of, I think it's 1474, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I looked it up. It corresponds with September 12th, 2024, or September 13th, Friday the 13th, 2024, which is a SmackDown.
Right.
So, and also coincidentally, and I know that he has legitimately spoken about this in public, saying that he doesn't want to go back to WWE, but Bryan Danielson's contract with AEW ends the beginning of September 2024.
Right.
He signed a 5-year. The contract that he signed was at the beginning of September with them, and that contract expires the beginning of September 2024. I'm just putting those pieces out there as those are factual pieces of information.
Right. Well, you never know. I mean, yeah. There's plenty of people that said they would never come back to something, and they have. I mean, we're looking at CM Punk right now. You never fucking know.
Yeah, and I am still firmly. And I know I've talked to other buddies who wrestling fans are totally against this, but I am firmly on the train of. I think Roman Reigns is good with that Universal title reign. Roman Reigns is going to surpass Hulk Hogan's 1474 title reign.
Here's how it goes into my head right now, and this could change because it has many a times because this reign's going on for so long. But in my mind, I see now that The Rock's kind of not back in the scene, but he's made his face show. He's shown his face. I see next year WrestleMania, we got Rock versus Roman. I see Cody getting close to getting in the main event, but loses out somehow. Maybe he's in the Royal Rumble, but he loses or something. I don't know. But we have Roman versus Rock at WrestleMania, which, fuck, if we get to see that live, well, that's quite something. Anyway, and then I see him then going on to WrestleMania 41 to then finally face Cody Rhodes. And that's where I could see maybe Roman finally losing the title, but I could still see him winning that WrestleMania 41 as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I think especially if it's Rock versus Roman.
Yeah.
At WrestleMania, it's gotta be Roman.
Roman's beating Rock. Roman is beating Rock.
Roman Reigns is beating Rock. Like I'm thoroughly in that. And if that's gonna be 2024, if he's coming out of WrestleMania, like there's no reason at that point.
Yeah.
Once you get that close, it's one of those things that they probably didn't think about it when it started. Like they might not have even been thinking about it.
Yeah.
You can't really think that far in the future of are we going to set him up to beat this reign?
Right.
It happens over time once you really, just like with the Undertaker's streak. Nobody really even talked about, they didn't even think about the streak. It wasn't even a thing until like 9 or 10 years. When they're like, wait a second, the Undertaker has been in every WrestleMania match the Undertaker's been in, he's won.
Yeah.
There's a streak here. Now who's going to, then it becomes a thing once people start realizing it. You don't talk about the reign until it becomes a thing to start talking about.
Yeah.
And now it's like, how can you not see it through?
Yeah.
How can you have to have a plan in mind for this already, because how can you not go this far and not see it through?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just insane. I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would ever see a title run this long. You'd always see the history books of going back into the 60s and 70s of these title reigns that lasted for fucking, Bruno Sammartino has the longest one at 2,803 days. That's from 1963 to 1971, the man was champion.
Yeah, like that's obviously not a realistic. That's just completely unrealistic.
Yeah. But the fact that we're getting close to something, Bruno Sammartino's second run was 1,237 days, and we are not too far off of that.
No, not at all. He'll surpass. And that's what I mean. Once he starts surpassing that, and 1474 is really close to 1500.
Yeah.
1500 is they've already made the big deal of the 1,000-day reign.
Yeah.
Which I the only reason I didn't get a 1,000-day reign shirt is because they don't have a sleeveless hooded T-shirt like the Wreck Everyone and Leave, which is my favorite piece of WWE merchandise. And if anyone gets this information to the WWE, put more Roman Reigns merchandise on sleeveless hooded T-shirts because they're amazing. Yeah. Other than that,
I love you just ended there, and it was just like that's it. I'm done now.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got about Roman Reigns right now.
But overall, great pay-per-view. We don't do the whole star rating thing here.
No, we just talk about it.
We just talk about it, and that's kind of where we leave it. But fucking good pay-per-view. I enjoyed it, and it was good to see the Thunderdome again, reminisce on the Thunderdome, and just see it again.
It sure was.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Oh fuck.
Shit.
Hold on.
What?
Wait.
Oh. No? What?
Wait.
You okay?
Hold on. Yeah. Hold on. Did you hear that?
Oh. What was that?
Hold on. I need your attention.
I've got your. You have my attention. I'm about to say you've got.
Okay. I need your attention. I need everybody listening's attention for a moment.
Okay.
I just got a DM.
Okay.
The Punks Talk Wrestling Instagram just got a DM from an anonymous podcast critic.
Okay.
Hold on. Yeah,
I've seen that guy. I've seen that guy floating around on our
yeah, it's yeah. This is so yeah. So hold on. Let me just read this. So here I'll just read it live. So it says, and I quote, "Hey, so I was listening to your podcast last week when you were listing all the wrestlers who pinned Brock Lesnar, and you left out Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero. Maybe you guys should know what you're talking about before starting your podcast. Skull emoji, middle finger emoji, clown emoji."
Okay, cool. So he's talking about 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. So this was.
So I had a little trivia thing for you at the start, didn't I? And that was
this was 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So he must have been listening to our podcast from 2 weeks ago, just recently, and decided now he wanted to. Okay. Now, in the middle of us recording a podcast, now, like,
all right, someone's catching up with the pod. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks very much.
That's kind of cool, but a really inconsiderate way, like especially like. Terrible timing.
Well, let me see. So he said that I forgot who?
He said you left out Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Did I really? Maybe we should tell Mr. Podcast. What's this anonymous podcast?
This is the anonymous podcast critic.
Okay, maybe we should tell him to go and listen to the episode again. Actually, because I think he'll find. That what I actually said was all the people that have pinned Brock Lesnar or defeated Brock Lesnar, I should say, since his 2012 return.
I was waiting for you to smack that.
Because if it was all time, yeah, of course you've got you do. You have Eddie Guerrero, you've got Kurt Angle. There might even be others, but
yeah, obviously we didn't forget Eddie Guerrero winning the championship.
Big Show, Big Show's another guy that.
Yeah, Big Show's another guy that win it. But maybe the anonymous podcast critic, maybe he should pay a little more attention, closer attention to. So maybe you should really keep listening to the podcast.
I'm totally up for criticism, constructive criticism, but But if it's wrong, then you're just wrong, really.
Chris over here knows what the fuck he's talking about when it comes to facts.
I do my research.
Yeah.
Sometimes I flummox over my research like I did last week.
Certainly well more researched than myself. Yeah. I'm much more of a color guy, whereas
I'm a play-by-play.
You're the play-by-play. It feels like you and I are, what this anonymous podcast critic might have inadvertently done with his incorrect criticism, his lazy, not completely informed criticism, was. Kind of shine a little bit of light on our roles here as we're forming them, and it seems like we're getting into a little bit. You seem to be more comfortable in the play-by-play area, where I'm a little more of the color guy, reacting to things that you're the setup, and I'm like the rebound.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or whatever.
But
or something to make another sports analogy of a sport I don't know anything about.
But Mr. Critic podcast,
Mr. Anonymous podcast critic, whoever you are.
I'll get your name eventually, I'm sure. Keep listening. We appreciate that.
Definitely keep listening. Yeah.
And if you have any constructive criticism to give us, by all means, go ahead. But thanks, Miss Person.
Thanks, anonymous podcast critic, for your slightly almost right criticism. Next time, maybe you'll get it next time.
Maybe
buddy.
next time. Better luck next time.
Who's the Janetti now? Anyway, talk about next times. We still have to figure out what we're doing next week.
Yes,
because
we do.
we found a slight gap in our schedule. Well, we have decided we're going to do. We'll put it. I'll throw it out there just on air to talk about. We're going to do a live watch along of NXT's. NXT. And
when you say we, you mean you.
We meaning me. Yeah. Because of the time differences. I'm gonna do a test run of a live watch along of the NXT No Mercy.
Yep.
So it won't be streaming live. It will just be recorded live and then posted for anybody that wants to watch along.
Yeah.
With NXT, we're just going to see how this goes. Maybe we'll put it up on the Patreon. Maybe we'll put it up as a test bonus episode.
Yeah.
On the main podcast. We'll see how it sounds. We'll see what the NXT takeovers are about 2.5 hours, right?
They're about 2 hours. Yeah, they don't run
about
too
2
much
hours
over that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. I think it's a good test to see if I can even tolerate just talking to myself
Tolerate
for 2
your
hours.
own voice for 2 hours. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I can. I'm pretty sure.
I know you can.
Will anyone want to hear just me rambling for about 2 hours?
I mean, I'm into it.
Also, we'll see. We'll see what happens. The only way to know is to do it and then
just do it. Yeah.
Wait for crickets.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the NXT. But since that's not going to be a regularly scheduled pod, we're going to we figured out before we started recording what we wanted to the content of the episode.
Yeah.
Or the theme of the episode. The gimmick of the episode.
We'll need to come up with a name for this reoccurring subject. But
so once again, live on the podcast, live recorded on the podcast, we're going to go through our decision-making tree of what our next podcast episode is going to be. But what we're going to do is we're going to deep dive into one wrestler's progression of gimmicks.
Yeah.
People that have had not just like, Randy Orton is a good example of a person we're not going to talk about because Randy Orton hasn't had like drastic changes in his who he is.
Exactly.
So we're gonna just start randomly picking out some names of wrestlers that we know have gone through some pretty stark gimmick changes. Like one of my top favorites, Cody Rhodes. Yeah. Cody Rhodes has had some.
Jeez, that's a really good
one. Yeah, that's a good one. So let's put him right. Let's put him on as one of them.
So I've got Hardcore Holly. He's a very obscure one, but he's been through a lot of different gimmicks. So I think
he's got quite a few distinctive things. Like we even talked about earlier today. His time in the Job Squad.
Yeah, Job Squad.
And I think that's definitively different than Sparky Plug.
Yeah.
We can pick some guys that might be little. Who else did we had?
Well, let's do it back and forth here, right? Let's do that.
Well, we shouted at a few guys earlier that we.
Well, we had JBL. Was another one.
JBL was one that. Yeah, JBL is a good guy.
We had
Godfather. We're gonna come up with 10 of them. Godfather was a good one. We're gonna
Seth Rollins was another one we mentioned during the pod as well.
We mentioned because he's had enough changes.
Yeah.
Let's put Seth in there, and we're gonna allow the dice roll to pick again.
That's 5, right?
That's 5. Yeah. Seth Rollins.
5 more.
Who's another one? I mentioned what's his real name? But he was Prince Albert.
Albert. Let's just put Albert in.
Albert. We'll just put Albert because he's been quite a few.
Yeah, he's had a lot of different things.
That's another good one. And he's not as well known. Let's see. Who else do we got here? Who else would be a good one that's been like distinctively different stables or
you know what a really fucking good one is? Viscera.
Yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah, Big
was Viscera, he was Big Daddy V.
Big Daddy V.
Yeah, there's a lot to go into there.
There's a few, there's definitely more than a few.
Yeah. Ministry era.
We even talked, we mentioned The Undertaker himself as like his distinctive eras.
Yeah.
He's well known. It's 1 in 10. Who else do we got? We'll put him in there because he's got distinctive. Because we can also this is also encompassing. This might also be the first ones that we deviate outside of WWE because we can look at
Oh,
like,
yeah, there's a lot
This is
we
the
can look
individual
into.
wrestler,
Right,
like
right.
all of the gimmicks that this person has gone through.
I mean, we could look at Gold Dust or Dustin Rhodes. There's a lot to go in there with Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, let's go with Dustin as well. We'll put him in there.
Because he's got his old WCW gimmicks where he did some wild stuff there. So
yeah. Who else am I thinking of that was earlier on? I mean, that's a hard one. It's a hard one to come up because I'm trying to think of like who else had some really wild gimmicks that were. I mean, Rikishi has been a few.
Oh, Rikishi's a good one. Rikishi's
a good one.
Yeah, Rikishi is a
because
good
it's really, we just want to shine the light on what they've done as different characters than their most popular characters.
Yeah, and I do like the ones that are a bit more obscure, like Rikishi. They're people that don't get spoken about very often. So
well, that's 10.
Ooh,
I mean, that's 10.
Is that 10?
That's 10. But let's. Well, who else did you have? Because
Baron Corbin.
Oh, Baron Corbin is. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's put Corbin in instead of the Undertaker.
Yeah, let's do that. He's a bit more obscure. Okay, I like that 10. I'm happy.
Yeah,
with that
and also, you know, there's a million podcasts about the Undertaker. You know,
Yeah.
there's a million things.
Yeah,
we want to also highlight some people that aren't always talked about.
Yeah.
I would take Cody Rhodes out even. Let's leave Cody Rhodes in there because, you know, if we get to talk about Stardust, I'd be super happy.
Yeah.
So we'll leave Cody. So our 1 to 10.
Who we got? So just,
So you roll a D10.
All right, I'm gonna get the dice because I'm not
down.
prepared. Give me 2 seconds. Headphones are coming off, so I'm not gonna be able to.
All right, headphones are coming off. This is the kind of you know, wonderful content that you can only get when you get the unedited version of our podcast on our Patreon. You get this minute of Chris getting a die from across the room.
All right, so got a bag here, but now I got to find a fucking D10. So hold on, I found a D10.
I was gonna say just dump them all out and find the first.
Here we go. Went straight to one. All right, name. Give us 1 to 10 right now.
Just roll the. I have them in order that we said.
Oh,
so
we said them.
We'll
all right.
Yeah, we'll just roll it.
Here we go.
Yeah.
And
roll them and let's go.
We got number 7.
Number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's Viscera, baby.
Yeah, I'm so happy with that.
All right.
Okay, cool.
Next episode, we are doing a deep dive. Let's pull up.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah,
hey?
who would have thought at the beginning of today we were going to be ending this with
the next week's podcast is going to be about Viscera.
Yeah. Oh man. Big Vis.
Yeah.
Big Daddy V. Mabel. He was at one point Mabel Doink, which means there is a storyline that involves Doink the Clown and Mabel. And
oh man.
Yeah. King Mabel.
Yeah, he was king of
Nelson
the ring.
Knight.
Yeah.
Big Vis and yeah. So
all right, a lot of research to be done here. That's for sure.
Next week, Nelson Frazier Jr. Oh shit! And also, I did not realize he had passed away.
Yeah, he passed away in 2014, unfortunately. But yeah,
I did know that. I did know that actually. Yes. I hadn't been reminded of that.
A lot of stuff in his career to go through here. So.
All right. Well, hey, we're going to go through the career of Nelson Frazier Jr., otherwise better known as Viscera.
Yeah.
Next week's podcast. The only other things I've got here in my outro is to remember to plug the Instagram at Punks Talk Wrestling.
That's right. Punks Talk
and
Wrestling.
Our Patreon at Punks Talk Wrestling.
And we're on Spotify. And we're on Apple Music.
And
we're on Amazon Music.
Amazon Music. And we're apparently everywhere.
We're apparently anywhere you can find a podcast. We're pretty much
as many places as we can. We're soon to be on TikTok.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, we're down with the
kids. Get ready for some some amazing audio content on TikTok.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's.
So I guess this is the end of the thing now.
I think that's it. I think
where we
wrap it up.
And I think we've never wrapped shit up on this podcast.
No, I'm
We're gonna
pretty
wrap
sure
it up. Nothing's ever wrapped up neatly anyway. It's like a terrible Christmas
No,
present.
it's usually like it's like when you just shove a present in a gift bag and then you just shove some newspaper
and you
on top of it.
Yeah, no, not that good. You put the thing in and you close it up with a bit of tape, but you hand it to someone and they can clearly see what's in it. You can pass it to them. Then they can see the name. You can see what it is. You can see that it's a, they can tell. But, it's okay. They still appreciate the present. It's still a good present. Everything else about it was great. It was just finished badly, and but that's
sticking
okay.
Sticking the landing is one of my weakest traits.
Yeah,
Steady spaghetti. He knows.
Yeah. So here we are.
We are
sticking the landing again.
Just not sticking the landing. Yeah, it's that 9.5 or 9.8.
Yeah. But I'm okay with that though.
Yeah, I'm all right with it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
All right.
See ya. Bye.